Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of April 17th, 2025, including Phil Spencer talks Switch 2, the Oblivion Remake had some screenshots leaked this week, the next game from the creators of Halo has been shown and dated, all that and more. On this day in Xbox history, in the year 2002, 23 years ago, Spider-Man was released for the Xbox. Now, this is, of course, Spider-Man based on the Sam Raimi movie trilogy, the first one from 2002, of course, the 9/11 Spider-Man movie. This is the movie game, the licensed movie game. I love this game so much, dude. This game has such a special place in my heart. I remember when it came out, it was, I don't know, this must have been the Christmas before. Well, I mean, this movie didn't come out on Christmas, but I got this game for Christmas, 2002, so the game was like half a year old. And this was probably the year before we got a PS2. I come from a big family, so it was always like, here's a PlayStation. All 25 of you kids share this PlayStation. It was like that, right? So we got a PlayStation 2 in 2003. So this was the last year before we had a PS2. So I wanted the Spider-Man video game so bad, but I didn't have an Xbox, a GameCube, or PlayStation 2 to play it on. So my parents got me it for PC, thinking that this game could run on our little POS Windows 95 machine we had running around. And no, it didn't. So I couldn't play this game. I remember the pain of having this game, but I couldn't play it. And I would just look at the back of the box and see the screenshots and be like, oh my God, I can't believe graphics look so good. I can't believe Spider-Man is the best looking video game of all time graphically. And then later, like months later, like many months later, maybe almost a year later, we upgraded our family. Kids, this is a thing from back in the day. Everyone didn't have a cell phone and a laptop and a tablet. Everyone just had like one communal family computer. In fact, in the 90s and 2000s, we had a thing called a computer room, or like an office, like a family office. And that's where everyone would go to engage with the computer from time to time. And so we upgraded the family computer in 2003. And I remember like seeing Windows XP for the first time, and like the slick black desktop we had instead of like, remember how every PC back in the day used to be that fucking what is that color? That sandy fucking beige, whatever, off-white color. And we upgraded, and I don't even remember what the fuck we had. I just remember it was a Dell desktop. And I remember being so freaking excited. I was like, oh my God, we're going to be able to play Spider-Man finally. And my parents were like, whoa, is this game going to give us any computer viruses if we download it? I'm like, you motherfucker, we like install the goddamn game. You bought it for me. And now you're going to tell me I can't play it on the new family computer because you think installing this game is going to give you a virus? And I remember the whole back and forth. But long story short, it took me so many months of owning this game before I could finally play it. And I remember playing it and loving the shit out of it. And then when we finally did get a PS2, years later, after having had the PS2 for a while, I then bought the game again for the PlayStation 2. And then I remember it was probably 2003 or 4, I got a Game Boy Advance SP for my birthday. And one of the games I got with it was this game, but for the Game Boy Advance. And so I've had the Game Boy Advance version, I had the PS2 version, I had it on PC, but I'm getting somewhere with this. I never played the game on the Xbox, and the reason why that mattered was because the Xbox version of this game was special. It had a special boss encounter that was exclusive to the Xbox version, and it was, who is it? It's not Vulture, because Vulture's in the main game. It's Electro. I want to say it's Electro. He's only in the Xbox version of the game. And so I remember this is probably like summer 2004, 2005. This is like after Spider-Man 2. This game is not new anymore. Like we're past this game. But I was at my sister's house, and her husband, my brother-in-law, had an Xbox, and he, like, going over to my sister's house was always like the move if you wanted to play with the Xbox, because we didn't get an Xbox until like a year before the 360 came out. So this must have been '04. But we went to my sister's house, and I was like, holy shit, you have Spider-Man for the Xbox. And he's like, yeah, you want to play it? And I was like, yeah. This is the one that has the special battle with Electro that isn't in the PlayStation or PC version. He's like, oh yeah, I beat that game forever ago. You can play it. And I was like, okay, Mom, how long are we going to be at my sister's house today? Because I got to sit here and play the entirety of Spider-Man for the Xbox so I can experience the Electro battle that isn't in the PlayStation 2 version of the game. And I remember trying to get to that battle in one sitting at my sister's house, and I think I got to like just before that part of the game before we had to go home. And so alas, it never happened, and I don't know why I never went back and fulfilled, finished that save file or whatever, but I always remember that. I mean, this game's iconic. I love this game so much. Such a fun linear little brawler level based game. The tutorial narration by Bruce Campbell with all the funny jokes and everything. Just such a graphically this game looked so good at the time. Also iconic bad guy lines in this game. I mean, you're talking about like you swing into a battle and then all like the goons show up and they go, looks like the freak wants to play. I mean, this is an iconic video game. This game has some of the best lines ever. Man, I have such a soft spot for this game. Shout out to Spider-Man, based on the Sam Raimi movie from 2002 for the Xbox OG. What a game. Shout out. All right, guys, welcome to Xbox On Podcast. Had a little bit of a weird thing happen right before the show. I'm just scrolling through YouTube because I'm trying to wean myself off a lot of social media. I recently deactivated my Instagram account, so I'm really not on a whole lot of social media, so I've noticed the more I get off of Twitter, off of Instagram, off these various apps, the more time I just spend in YouTube, because YouTube is my biggest addiction. And I see here that iDubbbz uploaded a content cop for the first time in, God, I mean, this must be like since 2017 or something. I mean, this is wild. Listen, we are literally living in 2017. I mean, Nintendo's about to release the Switch. Donald Trump just became president. iDubbbz is doing content cop. I mean, it's 2017 right now. I mean, it's just, I feel like we have gone back, for better and for worse. We have gone back in time and are reliving that year. I mean, 2017, Universal was about to open a brand new theme park, Volcano Bay. Fast forward to 2025, Universal's about to open a brand new theme park, Epic Universe. I mean, I'm just reliving 2017 right now. And you know what? I'm okay with it. 2017 was a pretty good year. I'm not complaining for the most part. Any year where you get a new theme park and a new Nintendo console's pretty good year, all things considered. So, not complaining. But anyway, guys, welcome to the Xbox On Podcast. We have no notable game releases of the week to really get into. So, let's just kick this week off with our mildly amusing stories. And this is actually the majority of what we're going to talk about this week, because there's really only like one major news story I want to get into today, but yeah, let's start out. These are our Xbox appetizers. If Xbox was a 3-course meal, you wouldn't start off with the fucking spaghetti and meatballs. Maybe you'd get some garlic bread or something. I don't know. What's an appetizer? Had like a New York Italian-American kind of like checkerboard tablecloth restaurant. What's a typical appetizer? You get the complimentary like bread and olive oil, of course. Put a little balsamic, maybe some Parmesan in there with it. But what's I don't know, what do people get? You get like a salad. You get like a fucking cannoli. Do people start with cannolis now? Is that where we're at? I don't know. But we're starting with cannolis this time on this podcast, guys. So let's hop in with this Elder Scrolls news that I know is going to make certain people giddy and happy. So let's do the VGC write-up, because they're my favorite website to access. Screenshots and details of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered have appeared online this week. The images, which include screenshots comparing the original game to the remaster, as well as promotional art for the game, are circulating on social media after a leak from Virtuous website. Virtuous, the developer who's been, doing the remaster, or at least reportedly doing the remaster. First found on Reset Era, the images show off comparison images for the original game to the new remaster. According to the website, the game will be titled Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered and is being developed in collaboration with Bethesda. Bethesda Dallas and Bethesda Rockville are working on the game alongside with Virtuous. Oblivion Remastered will release for PC, Xbox consoles, including Game Pass, PlayStation 5, according to the site. A deluxe edition of the game will also be released alongside a normal version. The deluxe edition of The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remastered will include bonuses such as extra weapons and horse armor, a nod to the original horse armor DLC pack from the OG game back in 2005, which became a long-running meme in the gaming community. Elder Scrolls IV The Oblivion Remastered will reportedly feature a visual as well as mechanical overhaul of the game. I saw these screenshots and they look quite nice in my opinion, but Cronky writes in, a resident Oblivion nerd, and says, the Oblivion Remake had some screenshots leaked. Dear God, it's beautiful. My fellow Xbots. What if the best game of 2025 is a remake of a game from 2006? Is Oblivion from 2006? I thought it was an 2005 game. I guess it was 2006, right? Was it? Didn't we get this with our Xbox 360 in 2005 though? Oblivion Xbox 360. Do I have my dates wrong? I'm usually pretty good about video game release dates, so I'm going to be a little disappointed. Oh, it is 2006. Oh, shit. Jesse's a dumb moron. That's what it says here on Wikipedia. Elder Scrolls Oblivion is a 2006 action role-playing game developed by Bethesda Game Studios. Jesse is a dumb moron, and co-published by Bethesda Softworks and 2K Games. Yeah. Oh, my God. I forgot about 2K Games co-publishing it. Wow. So that's what Bethesda had to do back in the day to their young, spry, lesser-known publisher at the time. Interesting. I remember that box had the 2K logo on it. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, March 2006, so early 2006. But yeah, good catch, Cronky. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about it. Screenshots look beautiful. I mean, obviously these are legit. They leaked on the fucking website of the team making the game. I mean, you can't make this shit up. And we know, like, it's been obnoxiously. Oh my God, why am I getting all these ad blocker things? Anyway, and we've been seeing so many reports of like, oh, it's going to be announced and released any day now. So listen, this is real. I'm tired of people trying to be like, oh, well, maybe it's happening, maybe it's not. I feel like we all know it's happening. Promotional art looks pretty badass. Very different from the tone I'm used to seeing this game represented. But yeah, I mean, from what we got from these promotional images, it looks good. It looks really legit. It looks really refreshed and overhauled. I think the thing obviously people are excited about is you see just these screenshots alone and it's enough to prove, oh yeah, this is a true overhaul of the game. This isn't like we just ported it to modern Xbox, touched up the lighting, increased the resolution, and called it a day. This is like, we are like from the ground up reimagining the art assets and retooling the game. This looks like something that is a labor of love and not just some cheap thrown together re-release. So I think from that perspective, there's a lot to get excited about. I'm excited to experience this game for the first time. Very annoyed because we're still getting these reports that's like, yeah, those are legitimate screenshots and the game will be announced next week. It's like, yeah, fucking right. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm so tired of all the false alarm, the boy who cried wolf instances of this game being shadow dropped and then it just doesn't happen. So I assume we'll hear about this very, very soon and that it is very imminent. But when I say very soon, I mean probably in the next 1 to 2 months, possibly sooner. But I'm not going to hold my breath and be like, oh, this is the day. This is the Thursday it's going to drop. I'm just going to call out sick and sit at home ready for this thing to boot up on my Xbox because, listen, you're waiting. You're going to feel like a dumb bitch when it doesn't come. So patience is a virtue. Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered. Let's fucking go. I still am curious what the logic behind doing this now would be. It's so close to Avowed. It's so close to Expedition 33. We just had South of Midnight. We got Doom coming up in just a bit. Maybe let your games breathe a little bit. If you're talking about PlayStation, they just got Indiana Jones. Calm down. But I guess we're just going to get this right now. No, we can't wait. Okay, fine. I think it's horrible timing. I think this game would be perfect if they released it in July, August. I think that's kind of the sweet spot for this game. But if you want to do it in April, be my fucking guest. I know Cronky's excited, so hey, there's that. Next up, speaking of games that were shown, Bungie revealed this past Saturday first gameplay and more details about Marathon, their upcoming new game release. Their brand new IP that's not a new IP because it's a revival of an old IP, but it's like a new game with that old IP attached to it. The game is described as a team-based extraction shooter. Players play as mercenaries who have given up their human form for a biosynthetic shell with unique abilities and stats. Players form a crew of 3 to battle in up to 18 other players in each zone. The game will be released on September 23rd, 2025. So this is new news. The game has something of a, not imminent, but a relatively close release date. Quote, from the creators of Halo and Destiny comes Marathon, a team-based extraction shooter. Choose your runner and scavenge the lost colony of Tau Ceti, shut up, for the fortune, power, and answers to Tau Ceti's secrets. Fuck me, reads the description of the game. Players fight over loot, which they must extract successfully to collect. If a team dies, their loot can be collected by other players. Bungie's also confirmed that it will allow players to play the game without the need for a full squad. However, they will be substantially more challenging. It will be substantially more challenging. The game's closed alpha test starts on April 23rd, and players who are interested can sign up to test ahead of the September release by going to the Marathon Discord. Bungie and Sony, who are the owners of Bungie now, are reportedly considering a $40 price tag for the game, though nothing has been confirmed as of yet. They just have confirmed that it is a premium game that will cost money and will not be free to play. So $40, probably a safe bet. They're going to probably try to go that Helldivers 2 route, I could see. But yeah, let's talk about Marathon. So this is going to come up a couple times on the podcast this week. I apologize. I think it already came up a couple times on the podcast last week. So again, I apologize. But let me just be completely honest with you guys. I am very much in a Nintendo mood right now. This Switch 2 stuff has gotten me very excited about Nintendo for the first time in many years. And I'm just really, really enjoying these last 2 weeks. Just really like leaning in and feeling that whole like, hey, I'm kind of excited about Nintendo again. It's a good feeling. It feels like rekindling an old friendship, and I'm really enjoying that. So I just preface with that to say I'm very out of sorts right now when it comes to non-Nintendo related gaming news, where normally it'd be like, hey, here's the new game from the Halo and Destiny guys. And I'd be like, oh fuck, I can't wait to check this out. But I gotta be honest, on Saturday when the stream went up and they were like, hey, we're talking about Marathon, I was like, fuck yeah, let me check this out out of pure obligation, and because, Bungie only makes good games. And I looked at it and I was like, you know what, if I'm being honest, Marathon looks fine. It looks like absolutely nothing special. I'm watching the trailer as we speak for like the 4th time, and I'm just like, nothing about the game looks bad at all. I don't see a single thing here where I'm like, oof, this is not for me. I'm watching it, I'm like, hey, I never really played extraction shooters. I think I played a total of 42 minutes of Hunt Showdown. I've never played Escape from Tarkov. I've never played any other extraction shooters. I guess I played that DMZ mode a little bit in Modern Warfare 2 a couple years ago, and I did like that mode a little bit. In fact, that's probably the most fun I've ever had with an extraction-based shooter. But even that, I barely spent any time with that at all. And so I gotta be honest, extraction shooters, it's a very niche game genre. It's not my thing. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but if I'm going to give an extraction shooter a fair college try, it's going to be one from the guys behind Halo and Destiny. So I have every intention of ponying up $40 and giving this game a go, and I suspect I'll probably be pleasantly surprised and enjoy it when it comes out. But right now, on first blush, I'm not seeing anything that's got me like, whoa, this looks cool. When Destiny was being shown extensively in like 2013, 2014, I remember being like, oh my god, the new game from the Halo guys looks so goddamn good. I can't wait to play Destiny. But I'm watching this and I'm like, Marathon kind of just looks like slightly more artistically neutered Crucible from Destiny. Like, it looks like Destiny. I'm not gonna lie. It just looks like Destiny. Like, even like the HUD and stuff. I'm like, this just looks like a slightly retooled, more poppy, colorful, but kind of dull environment, sci-fi generic slop Destiny clone. And it's weird calling a game a Destiny clone when it's by the guys that made Destiny. But listen, I understand Marathon is an IP and it's a set of lore that existed in the 90s, and it's not new, but this is a new interpretation of it and kind of a reboot / spiritual successor to those old Marathon games. But, let's be honest. When it comes to Bungie, people think about two things: Halo and Destiny. No one's thinking of fucking Oni and Marathon and shit like that. So I'm just looking at this, and I can't help but think, wow, this is like an extraction shooter mode for Destiny, and I just wish the new cool thing from the guys that make Destiny was something really different. You know, when we saw Destiny, it was so different from Halo. It's still a first-person shooter, but that's where the similarities stopped between Destiny and Halo. But when I look at Marathon, I'm like, this just looks like a Destiny looter shooter, not looter shooter, whatever it is I'm trying to say, extraction shooter. So I know that sounds kind of negative, but it's just like, I don't mean for it to be negative. I'm just, the character models don't look particularly cool. The weapons look fine, but I mean, like, these guys have been making 1 trillion weapons a year in Destiny. So, I mean, they're probably like tapped out on unique weapon designs. They look like variations of guns from Destiny. And then just the movement, it looks a little slow and sluggish. It looks, I don't know. I just feel like I'm looking at, I'll stop saying it because I'm just so redundant at this point, but I just feel like I'm looking at Destiny. So it's not to say the game isn't going to be good or anything. It's just to say that it doesn't have a very like wow initial impression. But the game, you know, it's a multiplayer live service game. It's going to speak. Let's let the gameplay speak for itself. Once I give this game a go, that's when I'll pass true judgment. The thing about Bungie is it's like they've never proven us wrong before. They've never steered us wrong before. They've always proven themselves to be a great developer, a very capable developer. And I know the team has suffered in recent years, especially with severe layoffs and studio shakeups and position changes and things like that. And the Bungie that exists today is not the Bungie that gave us Halo 3, let alone the Bungie that gave us Destiny 2. It's things are different. But I just look at this, I'm just like, it looks good. I just, it's the least excited I've ever been for a Bungie game, which is to say it's probably going to be good, and I'll give it a try anyway, just out of pure respect and understanding that these guys only make killer games. So I don't know. I don't have much else to say. I don't really love the looter shooter. I keep saying looter shooter. I don't really love the extraction formula. It's just not my thing. It's a little hardcore. It's a little too cooperative based. The beauty of Halo is just what an evenly balanced situation is. It's like everyone comes in the same, fight over power weapons, try to get kills, you know, and then Destiny is like, like regular multiplayer stuff, but the things you're doing in PvE modes and in campaigns and strikes and in dungeons are going to impact your ability to be good or bad at multiplayer. It's like, okay, well, then there's like a whole subset of other things you have to do in order to be good at multiplayer in Destiny. And then this is like, okay, you're playing multiplayer kind of, but it's PvE and there's objectives and you're digging for loot and you try to get in and out without getting killed and you're doing all these other things. It's like, I don't want to play a game within a multiplayer match. I just want to play multiplayer, you know, like, so it's like, I don't really know that this is even gonna, we'll see. It's really interesting because with Halo, they made the most popular version of a popular gaming genre, which is maybe easy to say in hindsight because first-person shooters were not really popular on consoles when Halo came out, and Halo is one of the games that popularized the genre on home console by making them feel and work so well. So I guess it's fine. And with Destiny, they really defined and created a new genre with the persistent multiplayer looter shooter style game, light MMO style game. And then with Marathon, they're taking a game genre that already exists, but is kind of niche and is really dominated by a select few games. And maybe they're going to be able to kind of do the Halo thing again and make this a more mainstream and popularized genre by doing something special with it. And so maybe that's what Marathon is, and I'd be excited to see that be the case. But I guess I'm just a little apprehensive. This looks like probably the most underwhelming thing Bungie's ever done, and I just would love to be proven wrong about that. But that is kind of my initial impressions of Marathon, and I guess I'll just leave it at that. There's really not a whole lot more for me to say at this time, but really hoping that game's awesome. I'll give it a try, for sure. Next up, guys, Xbox has opened up its Stream Your Own Games feature to all Game Pass Ultimate users. So it's not a cloud feature or people in early access or anything like that. So back in November 2024, Microsoft started letting Game Pass Ultimate members play select games they own via cloud streaming on PC, phones, tablets, handhelds. most devices with access to web browsers. But in December, the feature was extended to Xbox One and Series X consoles. But it was only made available to Xbox insiders in the Alpha Skip Ahead ring and Alpha rings, who were also Game Pass Ultimate members, so you had to qualify in 2 ways. But starting this week, the feature has been taken out of the insider access, meaning that all Game Pass Ultimate subscribers can now stream select games from their own Xbox library on their consoles. There are numerous benefits to this feature. For example, players in the Xbox One consoles can now purchase games and stream them to select Series X and S games without having to buy a new console. Let me rephrase that because I read it like an idiot. So if you only have like an Xbox One or One S or One X, you could hypothetically buy an Xbox Series X game like Starfield and stream it to your Xbox One without having to have an Xbox Series S or X. So again, it's more accessibility without having to invest in another console. Just what Xbox needs. More reasons not to buy an Xbox, right? But no, obviously it's a great consumer-friendly feature. It also means players will be able to save on storage space on their consoles by only installing certain games that they own and opting to stream others, something that will be particularly useful as owners launch their versions on the Series S, which are only 512 megabytes of storage. Wait, what? Owners of the Series S, that should say gigabytes, not megabytes. What the fuck? The library of supported games has also been increased to more than 100 titles, and on Xbox's website, you can see the full list. So I've been a fan of this feature for a while. I have not tested it yet, but I love it in theory, and I can't wait to find an instance where it's useful for me. I think about Marvel Midnight Suns. That's a game where it's like, I just want to stream that to my Logitech G Cloud and play it in bed as opposed to sit down and install my console and play it on the couch, because it's the perfect game for that kind of thing, but that game's not in Game Pass. So I haven't been able to stream it, but now that's a game I own, and it will probably get added to this list if it's not already. It will be a perfect way for me to easily experience it. I'm becoming more and more, I don't know. I love my Logitech G Cloud so much, and I love the Game Pass Ultimate benefits, but I continuously think Xbox more and more needs to find more ways to be able to easily access these games. But something I've been noticing a lot this past week or so, as I've been spending time with my Nintendo Switch really extensively for the first time in years, is that there is a certain magic and charm to being able to play a game natively on a mobile thing. And obviously, no matter how many times they introduce features like this, that problem is not resolved and won't be resolved unless you either get something like a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally, or Xbox makes their own handheld. Because I'm thinking about like how like I'll just be playing Mario and then I just press pause and put my Switch to sleep, and then an hour later I can pick it back up and just wake the device and pick right back up where I left off. But when you're streaming games, it's not that easy, because it's like you got to save and then you got to get off, and then when you get back on, you got to connect to your account and connect to the game and start the streaming connection and go through the menus and go load your save file and all that. It's not as pick up and play and seamless. And so while I love features like this and I'm excited for them and I think they're totally useful and great, it just makes me yearn ever more for that inevitable future where we can play Xbox games natively on a handheld device that is Xbox hardware. And that's, of course, what this next handheld device is going to be. But boy, oh boy, do I want it more than ever now. But this is a great feature. It's great to see it available to subscribers of Game Pass Ultimate, and I look forward to utilizing it soon. All right, guys, next up, Toys for Bob has said that it would love to work on a new Banjo-Kazooie game. Please, for the love of God, feel free to do so. In an interview with content creator Canadian Guy A, Toys for Bob studio head Paul Yan was asked which developers or IP would the studio would love to work on. He says there's so many that there's one of the most exciting possibilities being of independent, said Yan. One company we'd like to work with that we've already worked with, Team Xbox. They've been a great partner, and they have had a very interesting roster of characters that Toys for Bob could work with and have a lot of fun. The Honey Bear is the first one that comes to mind, I would say, that we can all agree on is Banjo's been hibernating long enough, right? The Rare-owned platformer hasn't seen installments since Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, which released on the Xbox 360 15 years ago in 2008. So, yeah, I mean, this is a nice wink and a nod. We know Toys for Bob is working with Xbox on a new game. I would not be surprised if they are working on a Banjo-Kazooie game. It just would not surprise me in the least. In fact, if we were going to find out about that, I wouldn't be surprised if we found out in June at this Xbox event, because now that Avowed is out, now that South of Midnight is out, now that Doom the Dark Ages will be out by the time this event's occurred, Expedition 33 is out, Indiana Jones is out. You know, these are all games that were shown last year at the Xbox Showcase. Now that all these games are on the market, we're going to be in a position where we need to not only get updates on existing games like Perfect Dark and Gears E-Day and Everwild, but we also need to get announcements of new games. Keep the funnel going with new content to look forward to and hype up. So I think a Toys for Bob developed Banjo-Kazooie would be a perfect match for an event like this. And it makes sense that, Xbox said, hey, when they bought Activision, hey, you guys can go independent, but let's work together on a project. A Banjo-Kazooie game sounds pretty much like exactly what they would team up together and do. But however, we were under the impression that Toys for Bob was working on an original IP. So maybe they're working on two things, and this is one of those two things. But I would not be surprised at all if Toys for Bob is already working on a Banjo-Kazooie game, and this is just kind of a wink and a nod. I don't know. I've long said I don't think Banjo-Kazooie needs a revival. It's a time and place thing. It's a product of the past, and I don't think there's something they need to do with it today. However, I would welcome a new Banjo-Kazooie game if a developer decides to partner with Microsoft and do something like that. I'd be interested to give it a try and see what they can come up with. I just don't think this is the franchise that needs reviving. It's something that we can just kind of respect and move on. It's like, I don't know. It's like, think about like other Rare games from the time. It's like, I don't need a new GoldenEye. I don't need a new fucking what's that game called? Jet Force Gemini. I don't need a new Donkey Kong 64. Thank God the new Donkey Kong game is Donkey Kong Bonanza, something unique and exciting and fun, and not just like Donkey Kong 64 too. It's like, yeah, we all love Donkey Kong 64, but it's because of the janky, fun, goofy 90s N64 charm that it is, the time and place aspect of it, and not because it's a game we're bringing back, although that's not as good as an example as Banjo-Kazooie. It's just the character platform in the most Banjo-Kazooie sense is kind of a dead thing unless you're called Mario, and I just don't know that we need a AAA Xbox published, backed, funded version of Banjo-Kazooie in 2025, although I will certainly take it and not complain whatsoever. I just wonder if this is really what Toys for Bob ought to be working on. But hey, they did good things for Crash. They did good things with Skylanders. I trust these guys. Let's give them a go. Hey, anything to get them out of Call of Duty jail, right? All right, and one more to kind of start us off for the week. You guys, Xbox is continuing to add more first-party games to Battle.net. This is from Pure Xbox. So Avowed kicked things off this year in February when it launched on Battle.net on day one. And then we heard that Doom the Dark Ages and Outer Worlds 2 will be utilizing the platform as well. Well, now this week we're finding out that Sea of Thieves is coming to Battle.net on May 22nd. These games all support Xbox Play Anywhere through Battle.net. So that means that you can play them on your Xbox consoles or through Steam, whatever. That Xbox consoles or the Xbox app on your computer, but also through Battle.net. So this is an interesting thing as they continue to keep Battle.net open rather than consolidate it and then eventually close it down, kind of like they did with the Bethesda launcher. They're kind of keeping Battle.net alive and doing a thing with it. And I wonder if the plan eventually, because Battle.net is such a long-standing thing with its own audience and everything, although people kind of hate it from what I understand, I wonder if the idea long-term is to kind of fuse Battle.net with the Xbox app, since the Xbox app really isn't all that as well, and people hate that as well. Maybe try to find a way to take the best of both clients and start to integrate them. And I wonder if that has something to do with what's going on here. I think this is a cool thing, again, just in terms of more options, more choice for more users. But, like, I don't know, are you interested in playing Sea of Thieves on Battle.net? It's like, no, I don't think anyone really is. I think this is just more of an experiment more than anything to maybe see where the crossover in these two markets is at, and then see how they can kind of bridge these two clients together over time to become one cohesive thing. Because I mean, the stronger they can make the Xbox app, whether that be with combining it with Battle.net, the more Xbox can have a foothold in the PC market, which is what they need to do, because the only way to grow Game Pass and move forward with Game Pass is to get more people on the PC side of things to take notice and subscribe. So I guess this is just another attempt and another effort to help expand that Game Pass market and expand that Xbox reach in the PC ecosystem. So cool. It's more, this is more like a, let's see what they're doing here, but nothing I'm super excited about, or that I can imagine anyone's like, oh, fuck yeah, I can play Outer Worlds 2 on Battle.net instead of Steam. Yippee. Okay. Whatever, weirdo. The Play Anywhere feature, though, is very nice. The cohesion between all the Xbox platforms matters. All right, guys, that's it for all of our Xbox appetizers. All your cannolis, they're done. Your garlic knots have been put in the trash, and now you're ready to take that carby appetizer and make some room for a carby entree, because we got a big old pizza pie for you. We got the pepperoni. We got the sardines, we got M&Ms, we got it all on this here pizza, and it's all for you, big boy. But before we dig in and take a slice, let us say grace. And by let us say grace, I mean, let me tell you about the games I've been playing. But before I can tell you about the games I've been playing, you mamacito, I need to tell you all about what it is I've been eating, you stupid you know what I mean. I thought about it. I don't really have anything to talk about this week in terms of what I've been eating. Nothing really exciting. I did wonder, though. I was having dinner with my girlfriend tonight right before I recorded the podcast, and I told her, I heard that apparently Fortnite does matchmaking kind of specific to the platform you're on, and I heard that if you play the Switch version, you can kind of dominate a little bit because the kids that play Fortnite on Switch kind of suck compared to the kids that play Fortnite on PlayStation or PC. And I was like, so if you want to log into Fortnite on my Switch, you might be able to do some easy leveling up or whatever, if that's something you're interested in doing, grinding out your battle pass, that sort of thing, because my girlfriend's really big into Fortnite. And she goes, oh, that's cool, blah, blah, blah. And then she starts telling me about the Sabrina Carpenter skin on Fortnite and how people who have that skin are teaming up, and now people are reacting, and now they're starting to team up against Sabrina Carpenter players in the game and all this stuff. So we're having this conversation back and forth about Fortnite. And then I stopped for a second, and I looked down, and I was like, wait, what am I eating right now? And I saw what I was eating is my girlfriend cooked because it was podcast night, so she's like, I'll make dinner. And so she made this, it's like this quick, easy, meal we have sometimes when you just need something to slap together. It's comforting and delicious. And it's basically like you make a mac and cheese, and then you put ground turkey in it, and then you put like tomatoes and taco seasoning and green chilies in it, and then it's like a Southwest Tex-Mex like chili queso mac and cheese kind of crossover thing, and it's delicious. It's a lot of fun to eat. It's super easy and delicious and yummy. So I'm like, whoa, we're basically here in our late 20s, sitting down as a couple in a house that we financed together, eating a bowl of mac and cheese and talking about Fortnite, and I made the point. It's like, this isn't what I pictured adulthood like. You think about it as a kid. You watch the movies, you see the adults, right? They're dressed up. The guy's in a suit. He came home from work, and they're like, how was your day? And they're sipping red wine, and they're eating salmon and asparagus in their nice house, and they drive fucking luxury cars, and they talk about how, oh, well, we landed a big client today at work. My boss is up my ass because percents are up 3% and stocks are down 2%. And she's like, oh yeah, I had a client today and something, and then I fucking threw him off a building because I'm whatever. And you just talk about adult stuff, stocks, taxes, bonds, affiliates. And then I realized, no, that's not the reality of my life. Here I am pushing 30 in just a mere number of days, and I realized my life at this age is, yeah, I'm a homeowner. Yeah, I work for a living. Yeah, I'm a responsible, independent adult. But what do I do when you cut me loose, when you tell me it's time to clock out and go home? Who do I become? What shoes do I walk into? Do I go to the gym? Do I eat brown rice and grilled chicken? Do I fucking drink Powerade and watch intellectual conversations from Neil deGrasse Tyson? No, I'm not a smart adult. I'm a fucking bitch. I eat mac and cheese and drink Coke Zero and talk about Fortnite with my girlfriend of 10 years, and I'm too fucking afraid to pop down on one knee and say, girl, will you marry me? Because I'd rather spend the money that should be spent on a ring on a Switch 2 with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart World, whatever the fuck it's called, and it sent me down this little curiosity spiral where I was like, What are your expectations? Now, most people listen to this podcast, adults. I know we got a lot of family men that listen to the podcast, people with children. What was your expectation for yourself growing up with when I'm an adult, when I'm cooking dinner or my wife's cooking dinner, or we're our own family in charge of our own lifestyle? What will dinner be like? How will we have dinner? Will we sit down and share a meal together? Will we eat healthy? Will we have productive conversations? Will we have a policy where you can't have your cell phone at the table? What will we do? Because my girlfriend and I will put fucking It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia on in the background on the TV and eat our mac and cheese and talk about Fortnite like a bunch of children. But at least we're sharing a meal together and spending time together. But I wonder, are other people my age talking about taxes and brackets while they eat their fucking brown chicken and white rice or whatever the fuck I just said it was? And then they listen to classical jazz music as they cut their food with a fork and knife. I don't fucking know. The only thing that keeps me from the cavemen at this point in time is, quite frankly, is that at least I eat my mac and cheese with utensils, So I just wonder, how does it go for you guys? I know we got some families out there. You guys sit down, you make the whole family sit down for dinner. You guys try to eat healthy. You guys have a rule, no TV, no phones at the table. You guys talk politics. I know politics is always a good one to talk about when you got the in-laws over. You guys talk, what do you do? What do you do? You order pizza every single night? Wow. Just curious. I don't want to talk about what I've been eating, but I want to talk about how I've been eating, the habits, the dinner thing and all that stuff. You pray, you say grace. Of course you say grace. Of course you do. You're in an Italian restaurant. If you don't say grace, mama's going to come out the kitchen, slap you on the back of the head and say something in Italian that you don't understand. That's what's going to happen to you. But that's it for what I've been eating, thinking about something revolving dining. But let's move on away from that into what I've been playing. And you guys, I wrapped up South of Midnight this past weekend. It's been a few days now. So I finally rolled credits on this game. I think I put about, 12, 14 hours into it. I saw most people were beating the game probably about 10 hours or so, but I played the game a little slower, a little more deliberately. One of the things I love about this game, because it's so linear, because it's so realistic and achievable to complete in scale and scope and size, I had no problem slowing down this game and searching for collectibles and turning over every leaf and reading every little pamphlet and trying to get into all the environmental storytelling by reading the artifacts, the notes, and going through the lore dialogue or collectibles and just kind of seeing everything. So I really took my time with this game, just kind of doing all of that, and it took me a couple extra hours as a result. And having beat the game, I feel very much the same as how I felt last week. I think this game, from an artistic, from a sound design and music standpoint, from just a creative outputs perspective, I think this game is an absolute marvel. I think it is wonderful. I think from that perspective, it's a solid 10 out of 10, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I think from a gameplay standpoint, it is reminiscent of a bygone era. It is a style and a genre of game that I desperately yearn for more of these days, that is severely underserved. If you're a fan of this kind of game, you are a severely underserved consumer of this type of game. And I think it's largely a type of game that the majority of the gaming audience has outgrown and doesn't see a need for anymore. But personally, someone like myself still finds a lot of value in it and really, really enjoys it. And so, yeah, the arena simplistic, overly simplistic, kind of painfully pedestrian combat system didn't bother me at all. I had a lot of fun with it. In fact, I got the achievements for upgrading my skill tree all the way because it was doable, and it wasn't like Assassin's Creed where you had to play 4,000 fucking hours getting all the DLC and grinding all the assets and all the open world collectibles in order to become the version of the Viking or the assassin that you want to become or whatever. It was just, yeah, I found the collectibles as I explored the levels, and I used it to upgrade the skill tree, and I got the achievement, and I felt rewarded, and I had fun while doing it, and it was a good time, and that's how I feel, and it was great. And I still think the platforming and the moment-to-moment exploration and traversal in this game is top-notch, or I don't know about top-notch, but it's very good. It's very, very, very good. It's B+ at worst. It's very fun. I really enjoy just playing this game and moving around. I think towards the later chapters, they start to fuck around with the formula a little more, and it gets more spicy and interesting with where they're going. I love the premise of this game. I love the synopsis. I love the setting. I love the characters. I love all of that, but I will still say this game's shortcoming overall is that it is immensely high potential in its opportunity to tell great story and to have emotional, compelling moments with its characters. And I think it mostly comes up short at the end of the day and tells a story with its characters that is only about half as great as it could be if they really wanted to explore it further. One criticism I share with this game that I'm seeing largely tossed around is that it has a very abrupt ending, and oh boy does it. In fact, I feel like there's another cutscene or two they could have slapped in there to kind of just tie up some loose ends and maybe add a little bit more heart to it, and they just choose not to, and then the credits just kind of roll abruptly, which is unfortunate. But in terms of major beats and where they take everything and all that, I'm fine with it. It's fine. It's not as artistic and profound. I feel like this game has the opportunity to say something really with its ultimate priority story beat, with its main story, but it doesn't. But I think there are nods and there are influences and there are touches to this game all throughout that are profound and that do say a lot and that do offer a lot of rich art to take in and experience. I think chief among them are the music and the art. And then just some of the themes they touch on with some of these characters you meet along the way. I mean, the game is ultimately about this along the way, this quest to find your mother and to save her. It's about, exploring this deep South rural town where you come across these people who all carry their own scars and their own emotional baggage, and learning that, everyone is their own beautiful broken person through the decisions they've made in the past they lived, and all these things. And I just wish they did more with those characters and with those stories, and said something a little more profound. But there are these glimpses that are so special throughout the game that's like, man, I love that idea, or I love where they were going with that. Don't always love where they end up with it, but I love where they were going with it. And so all in all, I will say this game is incredibly fun. It is incredibly basic and easy to pick up and play, which I think is great. I love that it respected my life for the 10 to 15 hours I put into it, and then said, have a great life, Jesse. We'll see you never, and now I can just move on and enjoy something else. I do adore the music for this game, and will continue to listen to it now that I've beaten it, because I think it's super special and really interesting and compelling. And just overall, I'm a really big fan of South of Midnight. And I just got to say, in a world where we'll talk about it in a little bit in the main news, all we get are sequels and safe bets and things like that. We need more original IP, and South of Midnight is an original IP. It's a perfect example of both why we need original IP and why we never get it, because this game is beautiful, it is special, it is unique, and it is also not a commercial success, and it will not get a sequel, and it will not light the world on fire. And the best this game could ever hope for is that in 5 years we start to see the YouTube retrospectives that say, remember South of Midnight? And then becomes a cult classic in hindsight, where people are like, I always loved South of Midnight. In fact, I'll prove it to you, because here's a picture of me being 13 years old, really enjoying South of Midnight. Whatever. So hopefully this game gets at least that. Because it deserves recognition, it deserves attention, and I really think that the team at Compulsion have done a fantastic job building a game that I truly care about. I barely played their first game, Contrast is what it's called. I played a little bit of it, and I really liked it. I know I would love that game if I went back to it. I played a little bit of a We Happy Few on 2 separate occasions, and on both occasions really didn't resonate with that game. It just really wasn't for me. But South of Midnight is their first real hit keeper for me, like where it's just like that's a game I can really get behind, and I'm really grateful that this game exists. I really enjoyed the hell out of it, and I would welcome more risky, unique things like this in the future, and I look forward to seeing what Compulsion does next. Hopefully they're able to keep the lights on in a world where every studio gets fucking shut down for not being Elden Ring. But this is great Game Pass fodder if you want to look at it that way. I don't mean it in a derogatory way, but this is great Game Pass fodder from the perspective of it is a great game that many people would probably be willing to check out for free but wouldn't be willing to buy. And so I highly, highly, highly recommend this game to Game Pass subscribers. But I also do think, separate from that for $50, this game is worth every penny in my book. And I'm glad I put in those 10 extra bucks to get the game a few days early, just to throw an extra bone to the developers and show my vote of confidence and support for this project. So that's South of Midnight. I thought it was a wonderful game. Highly recommend it. Really love it. And I hope you guys will give it a try. I hope at least more people will give it a try and see some value in it. In fact, Dead Captain James wrote in and says, I'm a few hours into South of Midnight, and it's freaking amazing. I love artsy games like this. It's so polished and unique, but we all know it's going to be beloved by critics, but a commercial flop. Well, I'm actually surprised. Honestly, commercially, critically, it's doing like decent. It's not even doing great. It's not like beloved by critics. It's like liked by critics. But yeah, no, I mean, you're right on the nose, man. Commercial flop, no doubt about it. But I guess what really matters here is just taking what you can get. And Dead Captain James, I'm glad you're enjoying the game, and I know I enjoy the game, and I know there are people listening to this podcast who also enjoy the game. So it's just about, the people who do end up playing this game, just get what you can out of it, enjoy it for what it is, and just be appreciative that it exists, because unfortunately, there are too many instances where things like this happen, where something special is released to the world and it just gets kind of cast to the wayside immediately, and then it's forgotten because there's just too much out there competing for our time and attention. And South of Midnight is unfortunately going to be one of those victims to the just constant attention competition out there that is just hard to play a role in. All right, guys, that's it really for. Well, actually, let me continue on. I don't know what I was about to say. I have some other things to say here. Lord Ogre writes in. I guess this is someone who's writing it for the first time. So I'm assuming, based on what we're about to read here, that this is a drive-by commenter, but nonetheless, I wanted to read it. This game is so horrible. Empty voice acting. Story is horrendous. Sweet Baby Inc. outdid themselves again. 600 players on Steam. Yeah, Sweet Baby Inc. was consulted on this game, as they are consulted on most third-party and AAA and first-party style games these days, so there's no surprise there. But as someone who's actually played the game, and I'm assuming Lord Ogre, you haven't played this game. In fact, I'm confident you haven't played this game. You probably just watched some fucking YouTube videos and read some Twitter comments that told you what to think. Politely, you can go fuck yourself. Not because you can't disagree with me. You're more than welcome to disagree with me. I mean, if you played the game and you genuinely didn't like the game, that's fine. But I know you didn't play the game, and I feel confident you didn't play the game because everything you wrote in this fucking comment screams, I have no goddamn opinion. I have to ape the opinion of what other people online say, and here's how I'll prove it. I'll just say things about the game that prove I haven't played it. You said the game is horrible. That's vague, means nothing. Empty, voice acting and story are horrendous. Okay, if there's anything that's good about this game, it's the voice acting and the art and all that and the world. So you're criticizing the only things about the game that are like objectively phenomenal. Sweet Baby Inc. outdid themselves again. So you're just grappling onto, for people who don't know, Sweet Baby Inc. is this like, I don't even know what they are. This fucking organization, if you will, that I guess they get hired from different publishers and developers to work on games, not in terms of development, but as like a consultant for like DE&I kind of stuff, where they look at a game and they go, okay, you're making a game about this culture or this religion or this race or this whatever, and they kind of get hired to look things over and be like, oh, well, this is an appropriate depiction of this culture, or, oh, have you considered that this line of writing would translate into something offensive in this language that the game will be available in? And the point is just to kind of make sure that the game is vetted through a system that allows for them to make it more culturally appropriate and accepting and honest and accurate. And you can agree or disagree with it. In fact, I kind of disagree with the existence of a company like this altogether, or an organization like this altogether. But I don't think that they are inherently evil, and that if you play a video game that is affiliated with these guys at all, if they've had any hand in this game, in these games, that that the game is inherently broken or shitty or bad as a result of it, or woke or anything like that. I mean, most modern AAA games are vetted through Sweet Baby Inc. These days, if you, whether you like it or not. And here's the thing: is this game doesn't have any inclination of, or any droplet of wokeism or DEI bullshit. In fact, the only way you could come up with that is if you were a fucking bigoted piece of shit who just looked at the game, had a hate boner for it, and said, how can I trash this game? Oh, look, it's a game where you play as a black female, therefore this game is woke. I don't know what to fucking tell you, man. Like, black women are real. I don't know if you've ever been outside the house before, but they're real, and they exist, and they walk among us every day. So I don't understand, if you have a game that is set in the deep South, and it's just like folklore, rural, kind of bayou, Louisiana type thing, it's like you kind of want the protagonist to be a black character, because you almost think, I mean, you're like thinking about like this like deep South, Creole, rural, bayou thing, like almost like Louisiana, New Orleans style thing. It's like, I think of black culture. Like, what do you mean? Like, are you not, like, Hazel is kind of the most appropriate character to have in the game. And even if it was a white male or something else in place of Hazel, you could still tell a great story. But the thing is, and I say this as someone who actually played the game from start to finish, at no point in this game is Hazel's experience or journey about or defined by her blackness or her womanness. Although it is a story of a mother and a daughter, and I think you could say that there is something to be said here about the strong, about the relationship of women, or the strong mother-daughter bond or something like that, which I think is beautifully done and touching in this game. at no point does this game take like low jabs and go like, oh, well, mom, I saved you because dad was a deadbeat and I had, someone had to step up and it sure as hell wasn't going to be a man. There's nothing in this game like that. It's just a story about a daughter trying to save her mother, and this daughter and her mother happen to be black. There's nothing woke about that. There's nothing DE&I about that. And there's nothing that's Sweet Baby Inc. ruining the game. So honestly, to have this perspective, the perspective that, hey, the game sucks. Like if you're like, hey, I played the game, the art style is cool, but the combat's weak. The game's kind of old school and pedestrian. It wasn't for me. Story's kind of weak overall. Kind of a bad game. If you said that, I'd be like, you know what? That's a valid perspective, and you can feel that way. But if you come in here and you're like, the game's horrible, the voice acting's bad, and it's woke. Only 600 people are playing on Steam. What a failure! What a piece of shit game. If you're coming in here talking like that, you're just basically saying, hi, I'm racist and I have no creative thoughts whatsoever, and so I have to just go for the low-hanging fruit here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there is a part towards, not to get into spoiler territory, this isn't really a spoiler, it just takes place later in the game, so I hesitate to really get into it, but there is a part later in the game where one of the characters whose like backstory you're exploring and learning about, because you're learning about characters who have been dead for years and years and years, was this woman born into slavery trying to save her son and give him a better life. But again, this game, there's nothing, I mean, dude, what the fuck am I supposed to say here? Like, I don't know, man. Just being black or having a story that references this thing that has, I'll say this as someone who's from Georgia, slavery kind of like dominates the history of the Southeast United States. I'm not saying it's a proud history. In fact, it's a shameful history, but it kind of has everything to do with the past of the Southeast United States and affects everyone who fucking lived here / lives here and how the world is today as a result of those actions from back in the day. So, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to like Louisiana or Georgia and like learned anything about these places, but the way they're built out and the way life is in these places is largely impacted by the decisions of the past, and slavery was a massive fucking part of that. I don't know if you know this, but we fought a war with ourselves over this shit. And spoiler alert, your side fucking lost, Lord Ogre, so get in line, baby. 600 people are playing South of Midnight on Steam, but how many people are playing you? Damn, you just played yourself. That's one. It's one, baby. All right. Anyway, I don't mean to give him that much oxygen. I just want to say, this game's fucking awesome. There's nothing. Dude, it's like, speaking of it being 2017 again, it's like, we're exhausted by this shit, right? Like we all get it now. Like, is the fucking brain rot about like the social political shit done now? Like, are we scared enough yet by like the worsening economic conditions, the global economic depression that's like upon us? The worsening of inflation, the tariffs, and all the bad shit going on. Are we all unified enough at this point to realize that like your gay neighbor, your black neighbor, these are not your enemies, that we're all in the same goddamn boat and the rich elites are the fucking problem, and it's time for us to get off our lazy asses and skin the rich alive? Like, are we there yet, or are we still in the whole like, black woman equals woke? Not for me. I listen to Joe Rogan because I'm a free thinker. All right, dude, calm down, Lord Ogre. Anyway, speaking of woke, there is one other thing I've been playing this week, and I just want to talk about it because I'm so excited. I'm having so much fun. Falling in love with Nintendo for the first time again. Now, yes, I know Nintendo is a Japanese company, which is not American, which is not white, which not American is not white. Fuck you, Australia. Not American is not white. But yes, I don't mean to be so DE&I about it, but I am supporting a Japanese platform by playing my Nintendo Switch for the first time in a long time. And I just want to say, I rebeat Mario 3D World for like the 100th time. First time on Switch. When this game came out in 2013 on the Wii U, I played it and beat it like 3 times in a row. But I played it for the first time in a long time by beating it on Switch, and it was fun. It was a good game. I loved it then. After like the 4th or 5th playthrough, I'm like, it's fine. Still good. It's still a great game. But the real reason I played through this again is because I wanted to play Bowser's Fury, which is something I've ashamed to say I've been sitting on forever but haven't played. So I finally played Bowser's Fury, which is the like second DLC additional campaign game that's bundled in with Mario 3D World on the Switch version. And it's like a little 3D Mario game that takes about 4 hours to play through. And I just want to give a shout out to this. This game's fucking awesome. It's a little cat 3D Mario game where you're Cat Mario versus Cat Bowser, and you collect cat sprites all around this little open world, and you do all these little platforming challenges, and you get all your little cat sprites, and you reunite mother cats with their baby cats, and then you beat, like in a fucking Dragon Ball Z style fight, Cat Mario beats Cat Bowser, and you team up with Bowser Jr. to do it, and it's fucking awesome. So I just want to give a shout out to Bowser's Fury. Great fucking little Mario 3D bite-sized adventure. Kind of makes up for the fact that I had to rebuy Mario 3D World, a game I already purchased on the Wii U, again, in order to experience it, because this little thing is so good in and of its own. Definitely helps me understand better the Sonic Generations Cross Shadow Generations package that came out last year. This is very much Sega's version of the same thing. We're like, here's a really awesome little small spin-off game, and we're going to bundle it in with a re-release of another game that's great, because that's exactly what they did. But shout out to Bowser's Fury. Absolutely loved it. And now what I'm trying to do right now is I'm kind of taking a break from Xbox now that South of Midnight's over. And I'm just going to try to clean up a little bit of the Switch backlog, because there's a handful of games on Switch that I'm kind of ashamed to say I just haven't played. But, you know, I've been out of love with Nintendo for the past 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years. And so now's a good time. Really, ever since the pandemic, I've just kind of been like out of love with Nintendo. So I'm just trying to like kind of clean up some of that backlog before Switch 2 comes out. So played a ton of Splatoon on the Wii U, played a ton of Splatoon 2 on the Switch. Splatoon 3 came out. I only played about 15 hours of it. I really fell off pretty early compared to the other Splatoon games. So I'm only halfway through the Splatoon campaign. This week I hopped back in and said, let me start finishing up that campaign, because I'm ashamed to admit I never beat it. And Splatoon 3 is so excellent. I don't have too much to say about it. It's just, I love Splatoon. I always will. It's such a great game. It's honestly one of my favorite Nintendo IP. For me, when I think of like my favorite Nintendo IP, it's like 3D Mario, Splatoon, no particular order, Splatoon, Pikmin, Metroid. Like, those are probably my top 4. I don't know what number 5 would be in top 5. I don't know. But I love Nintendo. Like, Nintendo has so much great IP. It's like they're always like doubling down. Like, here's Mario and Luigi. Here's Mario Party. Here's Zelda 25. I'm like, I don't really give a shit about any of that at all. I literally couldn't care less if Mario's having his 50th party. But then it's like 3D Mario, Splatoon, Metroid Prime. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Nintendo's so good. When they want to be, they're so good. And then you're just fucking re-releasing every Switch Mario Party game or every Wii U Mario Party game that nobody ever played. So I'm playing Splatoon 3, loving it, just finishing up the campaign. God, this campaign's so much harder than Splatoon 1 and 2 for some reason. But after that, I want to play Mario Wonder and Pikmin 4. 2 more games. I'm like, how the fuck have I not played these yet? And then after that, I'm thinking maybe Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and possibly the Animal Crossing game that came out a few years ago. I love Animal Crossing, but when the new one came out a few years ago, I was just like, I have no interest in playing this. I played so much Animal Crossing on DS, GameCube, not Wii U, 3DS with New Leaf, especially Wii. City Folk on Wii, that was my favorite Animal Crossing. I played a lot of Animal Crossing, and I don't know, I just feel like I kind of got my fill. But now I'm like, now that I'm in a Nintendo mood, I'm like, maybe I will go back and play that Animal Crossing New Horizon game from a few years ago on Switch. Maybe I will. We'll see. I don't know. Pikmin 4 and Mario Wonder, for sure. Animal Crossing and Marvel Ultimate Alliance, maybe. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. But that's it for what I've been playing. You guys, let's take a quick water break, and then we'll come back and talk about some news and listener comments and things like that. I got to take a talking break and a water break. We'll be right back, guys. All right, so for the news, we really only got one big thing. It's just this Phil Spencer interview with Variety Magazine. I don't know why I couldn't get into the actual interview. My web browser kept saying I have a pop-up blocker, but I don't. I don't know. Edge sometimes is weird. But I gathered some retellings of some of the top stories from VGC and Pure Xbox. So let's just go through some of the highlights from this interview, which is originally from Variety, in case you want to go check it out yourself. But let's start with the first thing here. Speaking in a new interview with Variety, Spencer reiterates his intentions to support Nintendo Switch 2, stating that he's a big believer in what Nintendo means for the industry. He says, quote, "We've been supporting Switch 1. I want to support Switch 2. Nintendo is a great partner. We think that they're unique. It's a unique way for us to reach players who aren't PC players, who aren't players on Xbox. It lets us continue to grow our community of people that care about the franchise that we have, and that's what's really important to us, to make sure we continue to invest in our games. I'm a really big believer that in Nintendo and what it means for the industry and us continuing to support them and getting the support from them for our franchises, I think is an important part of our future." When asked if Nintendo's unveiling made him antsy to share Xbox's next-gen hardware plans, Spencer said he was focused on our communities and the player base that we're building. He says, quote, "I get inspired by a lot of what different creators do from other platform holders, but I believe that the plans we have, that I believe in the plans we have. Obviously, we're evolving what it means to be an Xbox, and we're meeting players in so many different places. There are 3 billion people who play video games on the planet, and I get up every morning to think about how Xbox can be more relevant to those 3 billion people who play." And that's, well, side note, no, there's not 3 billion people who play video games, but whatever. And that's through making sure that we're leaning into how our games and our platform features can be available in as many places as possible, whether it's cloud, whether it's playing on PC, whether it's people buying a console. So we're really driven by that to grow franchises in our platform to be an important part of gaming for as many of the 3 billion gamers as we can reach. So it just kind of devolves into like the same speak we hear from Xbox PR all the time, which is like, we want to put players in the center of the universe and find them all on all the screens, and we want people to open up their toilet bowls and to see Xbox's logo. Like, we get it. Phil Spencer thinks everything's an Xbox, etc., etc. And they always do that whole, like, there's 3 billion gamers out there. It's like, no, there aren't 3 billion gamers. Stop counting the fucking 2-year-olds playing on Zeus kiosks at Chili's and the soccer mom who has Candy Crush on her iPhone 13 Pro Max. This is not a gamer. This is not who we're trying to reach. But I understand from the perspective of Microsoft, it's like, hey, we create interactive entertainment in exchange for money, and if someone will interact with a video game in any shape or form in exchange for money, we want to be there and get that money out of their pockets. So I get it. You know, they own Activision Blizzard King, and huge part of that being King, which is the mobile space. So they see between all their mobile initiatives, whether it be Xbox cloud streaming or just by owning mobile developers who are popular on iOS and Android app stores, they see themselves as a big, someone who has a lot of potential to get some of that mobile market. So I won't harp on that too much. But the thing about the Switch thing is, I feel like he kind of deflects here, because are they going to support Switch 2 in a big way? All signs point to yes, they absolutely are. I mean, look at what they're doing on PlayStation. If they're willing to do it there, they're absolutely willing to do it on Nintendo as well. So we can expect to see more Xbox games come to Switch 2 than we saw come to Switch 1, just by way of Switch 2 being powerful enough to support more Xbox games. I think that's a given. So, maybe we won't get Indiana Jones, maybe we won't get Starfield. I don't know. These games are probably too big or too much of an undertaking to get running on the Switch 2. Maybe, some of these games will come, some of these won't come. But the idea being that, generally speaking, if a game can easily be moved to Switch 2, they'll put it there as well. And I think that's kind of the plan going forward, which is a big deal, because it means that they're going to support Switch 2 in a much bigger capacity than how they supported Switch 1. And so that's what I mean by he's kind of playing it down a little bit, because he's like, oh yeah, we support Switch 1. It's like, okay, we're not talking about Grounded and fucking Ori and the Blind Forest. We're talking about, like, are we going to be playing Halo on our Switch 2? That's what we're asking about here. And he kind of deflects by being like, yeah, we support the last one. Why wouldn't we support this one? Anyway, players are at the center of the universe, and iPhones have Candy Crush Saga. It's like, calm down, Phil. We're talking about Halo and Gears of War on Switch 2. Don't get away from it. Maybe that's just a bad interview question or a lack of a proper follow-up by not really leaning into that more, but that's obviously what we want to know here, and I think that's obviously where Xbox is headed. But judging by this answer, he kind of successfully deflects from really digging into that aspect of the question, and so there's not a whole lot to glean off of here other than he just kind of regurgitated the PR response again. And so that's what I mean by, it's like, yeah, he talks about a couple different topics, but there's nothing crazy going on in this interview. Speaking of crazy, let's talk about this movie stuff first. In that interview with Variety, Phil Spencer was asked a question about Minecraft, the movie, an IP in which Xbox is willing to risk going transmedia with. Phil Spencer went in an interesting tangent about gaming IP and Microsoft more generally, where Phil basically doubled down on the team's commitment to new IP, something we saw them produce very recently with the likes of South of Midnight, of course. But we're in a time now with lots of big companies and where they're focusing on blockbuster hits, but hoping for Microsoft to get behind these comments and continue to produce a more wide range of new titles. So this is what he says. It starts with the fact that we're in the entertainment business, and whether you're building games, movies, television, doing an album, you have to accept that you're going to have a hit rate, and it's not always going to be 100%. Making sure that the culture inside of the team is we can do new IP, we can do new games. Some things will vastly exceed our expectations, and some will be disappointing by the results. And let's learn going forward as an organization. Phil has also said the next thing that we're always the more important thing is that you've got to make sure that you have a culture of the teams that are willing to take risks and make bets and do cool things, innovations, new things, which again, we're hoping is backed up by Microsoft in the coming years. I got to stop here because he obviously says the right thing about IP, which is that we need people to be willing to take risks and to be able to try new things. And sometimes you're going to succeed and sometimes you're going to fail. But we need to have people who are willing to take risks. And we need to understand that some of them are going to pay off and some of them are not going to pay off. And so I totally respect that. And I think everyone could agree that's obviously the correct attitude and approach to have to creating new IP, understanding that not everything is going to be a hit and you're going to have to go through the misses to get those hits, but along the way you're going to create a lot of unique and creative things that and all these products are going to find some audience in one way or another, and through that you're going to create a more unique brand by being willing and daring to do things different and not just make your 500th Halo game. So I think that's a really important thing to do for your brand. Of course, make your sequels, double down on your blockbuster franchises. We need Gears of War and Minecraft and Halo and Forza, but we also need South of Midnight and in Clockwork Revolution and Everwild and things like this. So it's important to service both sides. The thing I want to hone in on here is that this somewhat falls on deaf ears because Phil's literally saying, let me pull up the exact quote again. He says, the most important thing you got to make sure is that you have a culture of teams that are willing to take risks and bets on doing kind of cool, innovative new things, which again, we're hoping is backed up by Microsoft in the coming years. Well, here's the thing, Phil, is you do have a series of teams that want to do cool new things. That's how Bethesda ended up with Tango Gameworks making Hi-Fi Rush, is because they did something unique and cool and different. And how were they rewarded when that didn't succeed? They were shut the fuck down. So here's the thing, is yeah, sometimes you're going to have a Compulsion put out a studio like Compulsion put out a game like South of Midnight, and it's not going to light the world on fire. And maybe it speaks to the Jesse DeRosas of the world and not many people beyond that. But you can't go ahead and shut down Compulsion Games just because South of Midnight wasn't a hit. Just like you can't just shut down Tango Gameworks because Hi-Fi Rush was only a critical hit, not a commercial hit. And so that's the thing, is you can't scare your teams out of being creative and taking risks and making bets and being innovative when every time people play it safe, they're rewarded with another day to live, and every time they take a risk, they end up on the fucking chopping block and in the unemployment line. So listen, Phil Spencer, I know you're the good guy, whatever, you're the good guy in gaming, we're all supposed to love you, but I understand not all these decisions are made at your level, and some things are above your pay grade, and then people tell you what hard decisions you got to go make. I get it, but we can't speak out of both sides of our mouth and say we need people to be creative and daring and risk-taking and then punish people for being creative, daring, and taking risks. So think about that a little bit. You're saying the right things, but your actions say otherwise as far as, whether or not you back up the words you're speaking. So I just got to kind of hold your feet to the fire a little bit on that. We haven't forgotten about Tango Gameworks just yet, so something to think about. But yeah, it's the right thing to say about IP. Have they executed on that in the right way? Hell no. Absolutely not. All right, and the final thing I want to talk on in this interview is this talk about Game Pass, where Phil Spencer touches on the continued importance of Game Pass while also discussing the service might not be for everyone these days. Here's a chunk of what he says. He goes, for me, I look at Game Pass as a healthy option for certain people. It's not for everybody. If you play 1 or 2 games a year, Game Pass probably isn't the right business model for you. You should just buy those 2 games, and that would make total sense. but I want you to have choice. So we remain focused on everything that's on Game Pass and also what's available to buy. We're making those games available to buy in more places. Phil went on to say that Game Pass is part of the equation for Xbox finding new players, and that the team isn't solely reliable on the service to help it reach new corners of the gaming market. That's especially true now there's a chunk of the library of Xbox moving to PlayStation and Nintendo platforms where Game Pass is not available. So that's all great and well, but I wrote this thought down as I was reading this, which is this. You cannot put the genie back in the bottle, but you can decrease the relevancy of the genie by selling your games on the competitor's hardware. Xbox games being on PlayStation 5 and Switch 2 is a capitulation potentially that Game Pass failed. Or you could see it that way, right? Because there's no denying it. Game Pass has not hit the subscriber number that they wanted it to by this point in time. Game Pass has been around since 2017. It always kind of teeters out around that 30 to 40 million subscriber mark. Around, 30 million people or so. And that's kind of it. And they wanted to be at like 100 million subscribers by now. They're nowhere close. They're not going to get there. Call of Duty on Game Pass isn't going to do it. So that means nothing's going to do it. Game Pass is never going to hit that model. So that's fine. So you pivot. You say, we tried it. It didn't work. Now what? And they're saying, okay, well, we need to de-emphasize the importance of Game Pass in our business model because Game Pass is never going to be the revenue generator we need it to be. That's fine. The thing is, Game Pass is the genie that you can't put back in the bottle. So what do? Do you fold Xbox all together? No, of course not. You try to make it work if you can. So here's the thing, is Game Pass has to continue on, but they have to de-emphasize Game Pass while also emphasizing Game Pass, because you have to engage the people who are already subscribed and make them feel like they are the most important players in the Xbox ecosystem. But at the same time, you got to let the rest of the world know, we want your money. And that's the issue Xbox is up against. They say, buy an Xbox, subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate. You will be our favorite consumer that we have in our ecosystem. But you're not the one bringing us the money. We need to go sell Indiana Jones to the PlayStation guy in order to fund you buying an Xbox and subscribing to Game Pass. And that's the situation they're in. So by adding more games to PlayStation, by adding more games to Switch, really what they're saying is we need these other platforms to now fund us and make us profitable because Game Pass failed and we can't do away with Game Pass because that will just kill the brand together. If you put Game Pass away tomorrow and say Xbox is going back to pre-2017 Xbox, where we support our platform and our platform only with our games and our games only, and we compete against PlayStation with our library of games, and you have to buy all of our games a la carte, Xbox will fall apart in an instant, or at least that's how it's perceived. So the only option is, okay, we keep Game Pass going for those who want to be a part of it, and we try to make our games profitable by selling them on all the other platforms where Game Pass isn't. And that's really where they're going, and it seems to be working, but it's why we have this evergreen multi-platform, we believe everything's an Xbox kind of version of Xbox, because it's all you can do at this point, because Game Pass didn't work, because Game Pass isn't going to be the thing you need it to be, and because you cannot go back from this point. And so is it cool to see Halo come to Switch? Probably soon. Yeah, maybe. Is it cool that PlayStation players can play Indiana Jones? Sure. But it's all just a glaring reminder that the Game Pass vision didn't work out the way it was supposed to, and that's how we ended up here. So I just can't help but think about that when I read this quote. Just want to say that it doesn't matter really at the end of the day, as long as you can still buy an Xbox, subscribe to Game Pass, and enjoy these great games. That's all that really matters. But it is just kind of sad that this is like, Game Pass is like this, it's this thing, man. It was like the greatest promise, but also the final nail in the coffin for the Xbox brand in a huge way. And that's why forevermore the Xbox brand will never be the same. But it's okay. We still have Xbox, and it's still great, and they still have great games. And so I'm still willing to stick around as long as that controller is the best controller to hold, and Xbox continues to be the best ecosystem to play in, and the games continue to be great. I'm still hooked, and so be it, because I just played South of Midnight, and it was great. It's probably my favorite game I've played this year. Probably my favorite 2025 game I played this year, for sure. So far. Will it stay that way? I don't know. Donkey Kong Bonanza looks pretty fucking good. But for now, South of Midnight's the winner. All right, guys, let's wrap up with the Game Pass updates. Speaking of Game Pass, we got some new games available today, or available this week. We should go over. Grand Theft Auto 5 has made its way back into Game Pass, now part of the Game Pass standard catalog. Neon White is back in the Game Pass, now in the standard catalog. SpongeBob SquarePants, the Patrick Star game, is now on Game Pass for the first time. Crime Scene Cleaner is now on Game Pass, as well as PC Game Pass. And Tempopo is on Game Pass. Available day one, whatever that is. Now, Coming soon, the following games are about to hit Game Pass. These first two, very exciting. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is coming to Game Pass. Cannot wait for this one. Well, that's not true. I can wait for it. I'm excited to try this game. I think it looks really cool. Available day one, of course. Towerborn is coming to Game Pass, but it's a game preview game. It's still not out in full capacity. It's been in game preview on PC for a while, but now it's coming to Xbox in game preview, and that's also a day one Game Pass game on April 29th. And then Far Cry 4 comes to cloud console and PC on April 30th with Anno 1800 coming on May 1st. As well as Dredge coming on May 6th. But there's one more interesting one here, which is that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 from 2022 is coming to Game Pass on May 1st. So another Call of Duty joins the ranks. This is one of the really good ones, guys. If you haven't played this one, I really highly recommend the campaign. I think it's fucking awesome. But yeah, pretty great lineup of games coming to Game Pass this month, so really good content, and we need it after last month, because last month we lost a lot of good games on Game Pass, so at least the service is getting some real hits here. Now, leaving Game Pass on April 30th, the following 6 games will be off, so Have a Nice Death, Kona 2, Sniper Elite 5, The Last Case of Benedict Fox, Thirsty Suitors, and The Rewinder will all leave Game Pass Cloud Console and PC on April 30th, so try them now while you still can. But guys, that's going to do it for all of our news this week. Let's wrap up the show with our quick news stories. Our stories small, but important enough to make the podcast, but not important enough to warrant their own individual discussions, of which we have 3. I thought we had 4. I think I'm missing one. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened here. But let's get into them, guys. Real quick, Doom the Dark Ages is getting some Xbox accessories, Microsoft has confirmed, including a console wrap and some controllers. It was previously reported that a special edition controller would be based on the game would be released imminently, and now Microsoft's confirmed that a Doom the Dark Ages Xbox wireless controller and Series X console wrap are available now. There's also an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller themed after the game that will be released next month when the game comes out in May. The Doom the Dark Ages wireless controller is available for $80 and is exclusive on the Microsoft Store right now, but will be sold at other retailers later. The Doom the Dark Ages Elite Series 2 controller is available for $199 right now, or not right now, but is available for pre-order now and will be released next Friday on April 25th. Finally, the Xbox Series X wrap is available for $55 US. Both the Elite Series 2 controller and Series X wrap are available exclusively at the Microsoft Store while supplies last. The Doom the Dark Ages limited edition wireless controller also includes a Doomslayer Executioner skin for the game as DLC. Microsoft didn't know whether or not you'd be able to buy this separately or if you had to get the controller to get that skin. So, cool. Controller designs look really cool. Definitely nothing I'm interested in. I appreciate that the ABXY buttons have different Doom symbols and demon symbols instead of just ABXY, which adds a lot of flair, but there's a demon one, there's a Doomslayer one. It's pretty fucking cool. Next up, guys, Star Wars Zero Company has officially been confirmed and announced. It is the long-rumored Star Wars meets XCOM style game developed by Bit Reactor, which is a team made up of various XCOM veterans. This game is going to be revealed and shown off at Star Wars Celebration next month, I think, and is being made alongside Respawn Entertainment and Lucasfilm Games. Lastly here, the Minecraft movie popularity at the global box office continues in its second weekend, with the film clearing $550 million worldwide. On that figure, $269 million is from outside the U.S., according to Deadline. Overall, Minecraft movie is tracking ahead of the likes of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Sonic 3, and the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie. Minecraft also appeared to be ahead of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which managed $508 million after 9 days. Damn. And went on to earn $901 million in 21 days, a total of $1.36 billion in its box office run. So it'll be really interesting to see if Minecraft can beat Mario. I think Mario has more global appeal, but Minecraft is more relevant today. So it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. I'm actually following that with keen interest. Guys, that's it for all of our news this week. Let's go to the best, final, and last segment of the podcast, the comments, the shout-outs from YouTube.com. You know how it works. Head on over to YouTube.com. Click on the latest episode of the podcast. Say something mean. Say something nice. I'll call you out and call you mean things. But do whatever you want. It's a podcast. You can disagree with me. You can be a little mean to me. But don't be a fucking piece of shit, okay? But anyway, leave a comment on the latest episode of the podcast. I'll read it. I'm fucking desperate for your attention and your perspective. So let's start out this week, you guys, with a couple comments. Now, I put them in no particular order. We have 7 people that wrote in. So we're just going to kind of read them in random order, and I think that should work out just fine. We kind of read a couple of things already earlier in the show, so these are the rest of them. A lot of Nintendo Switch 2 comments. So starting us off, Parksy writes in and says, "So Jesse, did you get your Switch 2 pre-order? I managed to get the bundle pre-order. My older kids, have no interest, but I know as soon as it turns out, they'll want to play the latest Mario Kart. If I could get the bundle, I wouldn't have. If I couldn't get the bundle, I wouldn't have bothered. Great show as always. Yeah. Here, Parksy, I know you're from the UK. Good for you. You guys already had your pre-orders. I'm so happy for you guys. Stop rubbing salt in the wounds. We still don't have our pre-orders because President Trump says no, and Nintendo delayed the pre-order date. So no, I haven't gotten my pre-order yet. The rumor is that pre-orders will probably go live next Monday or the week after that. So probably in the next, probably the next like 5 to 10 days, I'll be able to pre-order Switch 2, 5 to 12 days or so. Dude, I'm really fucking hoping I get one of these things. I'm really trying to get one. But what's killing me more than anything isn't whether or not I get one. It's the stress of like the opportunity to pre-order one hasn't presented itself yet. So I still have to stress over whether or not I'm going to be able to pre-order one. Parksy, this is an important thing. It matters a lot to me. So I got to get the Switch 2. If I don't get the bundle with Mario Kart, I will still pre-order the $450 edition and just pay the extra $30 and buy Mario Kart a la carte because I really want to get one of these things day one. But ideally, I'll get the bundle. I mean, everyone's going to go for the bundle. Who the fuck doesn't want Mario Kart World? You know, I mean, that's the obvious game to get for this console. So like, it's a no-brainer. The only point in having the $450 version is just so that they can market and say the console starts at $450 as opposed to $500. Has nothing to do with being desirable. They know nobody wants that fucking thing. They know we all want Mario Kart. So I'm glad for you and your family. I'm glad you got one, and I look forward to hearing about how you like it when it comes out, man. Look forward to that. Mavsman writes in, long time no see, Mavsman. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. He says, Jesse, basketball is dumb. I gave up on basketball now. Now I just listen to Xbox on and I play PlayStation in the corner of my bedroom all day long. Your Xbox gives me life. Your Xbox on gives me more life. Your Xbox on podcast gives me eternal greatness. I am going to Burger King right now. Will I get zesty sauce with my onion rings? I don't know. I still have a childish palate and sometimes just default to ketchup. Peace be with you. What the fuck, man? Oh, wait. I write it upside down. You didn't say any of that, man. I just put so many words in your mouth that your tummy's full of accusations. Because what you actually said was, Jesse, always hiding in the shadows, but always around. I know you're a Disney guy, but the wife and I were planning a trip to Orlando in September to visit Universal and the new Epic theme park. What's your take on Universal and things to do while I'm in town? Well, Mavs, man, that's awesome. No, Universal's great. If you're going to come to town and have a vacation at Universal, I think you're in for a treat. You're in for a great vacation. Okay, here's the thing I will say right off the bat. If you're going to Universal, if that's the primary objective of your vacation, there is one hotel and one hotel only you should stay at. It is the Cabana Bay Beach Resort at Universal. And don't just book any room. Get a Volcano Bay view room. Not because the view necessarily, but because the Volcano Bay view room puts you in one of the towers. So Cabana Bay Beach Resort is one of Universal's resorts. It hotels on property, and it is by far their best hotel, and it's also one of the most affordable hotels. I mean, you can get, I think the cheapest I've ever stayed there is like $115 a night. It's like you can get really good deals. That was probably an annual pass holder rate or a Florida resident rate I got. But like, I mean, depending on time of year and demand, I mean, if you're going in September, that's low season, you could probably get a decent room for under $200 a night. But yeah, get a Volcano Bay tower room. And that is the best bang for your buck of any hotel in Central Florida. I'm telling you right now, that hotel is a gem. It is. I mean, listen, Cabana Bay is such an amazing hotel that I'll come out and say it. The best part of a Universal vacation is not their theme parks. It's that hotel. That hotel's phenomenal. Has amazing pools, has amazing amenities. The most important thing though is it's just got really good vibes. It's like 1950s, 60s Americana, like beach resort. It's all mid-century modern. It's got an amazing food court, great theming throughout. They got a bowling alley, they got a Starbucks, they got great bars, they got a water slide, they got a lazy river, they got a beach, they got all that shit. It's so fucking good. It is the best hotel in Central Florida. I highly recommend it. And I say this as a Disney nut. I love Disney hotels. My favorite hotel to stay at in Central Florida is Universal's Cabana Bay. Go there. Stay there. That is my number one piece of advice. Second thing is, if you're going to Universal, I don't know if you've ever been, but I'm just assuming you've never been to Universal. Universal, well, they have the water park and 3 theme parks now. Epic Universe, I haven't been yet. It officially opens next month. Everyone I know has been to it already, and what I hear is it's a really great park. I'm sure you will have a great time if you go. I'm looking forward to going in the next couple months, hopefully myself as well. I'm very interested in seeing a new theme park. It'll be fun. But yeah, I'm sure that's obviously it's going to be new for everyone. It's probably just going to be a fun experience to be a part of that. But aside from that, the existing 2 parks they have, Islands of Adventure is a blast. I love that park so much. The Marvel Superhero Land's amazing. The Entry Land is amazing. The Jurassic Park Land's amazing. The Harry Potter Land is amazing. It's a great park overall. You got Spider-Man, you got Velocicoaster, you got Hagrid's, you got Kong. It's got a great lineup of rides. But the park next door, the original park at Universal Studios, this is a hot take, it's an unpopular take. I fucking hate that theme park. I think that's a horrible theme park. I think it is actually by far the worst theme park in Central Florida by like a long mile. I would rather go to fucking SeaWorld or Busch Gardens Tampa over Universal Studios, like their original park, their Hollywood movie studio park. It sucks. It's a shell of its former self, and its former self, I wasn't there, so I can't judge. It's a shell of its former self, and it's not good. It's got like no good rides. It has pretty piss poor theming. The best I can say about it is it's clean, and they got a cool Optimus Prime statue on top of a random building for no goddamn reason. So shout out to that. It's a good park for seasonal events. They do like a Mardi Gras celebration. In September, they'll be doing their Halloween Horror Nights event, which is the reason why you would go to that park at all. I mean, outside of the Christmas parade or the Mardi Gras parade in March and February, or the Halloween Horror Nights Fright event in September, October. Outside of those events, there's no reason to go to that park. That park is absolute dog ass. It's like not even worth your time. So I would say, if you're going in September, do a day at Islands of Adventure, enjoy the hell out of that. Do a day at your resort, just enjoying how awesome your resort is. Do a day at Epic Universe, the new theme park that's probably going to be great. Do a day at Volcano Bay, which is their water park. Their water park is phenomenal. It's a fantastic water park. So good, beautiful theming, really good food and drinks for a water park. Lots of fun, tropical cocktails and fucking flatbreads and shit like that. Really good theme park, a water park. But as far as the original park, Universal Studios goes, maybe just go for Horror Nights at nighttime and skip the park during the day. It's I don't know, if you've never been, or you get like a vacation package that comes with a ticket, whatever, go check it out. You're there anyway. You paid to be there. I'm sure you'll like it more than I do. I seem to be in the far lower end of the spectrum in terms of how, people who appreciate that park. But I hate that park. But anyway, Universal is a great time overall. I think it's a great resort. It was a horrible theme park that expanded into a really, really great, vacation resort destination. Like everything beyond that original park, I think is really great at Universal. I hate that original park so much. But yeah, dude, I hope you guys have a great visit. If you're looking for things to do outside of Universal, I mean, I don't know, it depends what you want to do. Touristy things, you don't have to go to Disney World to enjoy a day at Disney. You could go shopping at Disney Springs, dining at Disney Springs, resort hopping for free, ride the monorail, whatever. You could do a day at the beach. I mean, your closest beach from Universal is going to be Cocoa Beach, which is kind of a not great beach, but whatever, it's fun. You can go to Daytona or whatever, not great. If you want to go near that coast and have a better beach, you can go to like New Smyrna, but that's like where all the sharks are. So I don't know. I think Tampa's the way better side of town for beaches. But yeah, whatever. Cocoa Beach is still a day at the beach, so it's a decent time. I don't know. There's tons of things to do in Orlando, but I mean, really, if you've never been to the parks, that's where you should focus your attention on, because that's the best part of this town for sure, is the theme parks. But if you want further recommendations, reach out to me, PM me, whatever, and I can give you specific recommendations of my favorite Japanese restaurants and stores to buy nunchucks and other Nintendo/Naruto fan accessories. Mazman, it's good to hear from you. Hope you're doing well, and hope you have a great week. God bless. Happy Mario 64 writes in and says, "Hey Jesse, thanks for the podcast. I got my pre-order in for the Switch 2 here in the UK. Got the Mario Kart bundle, can't wait to play it. In the meantime, I'm playing South of Midnight and I agree that with everything you're saying about the game. Off now to eat toasted tea cakes and jam with a cup of tea. Have a good day." God damn you. You're just rubbing it in. You're just being all British. You're having tea cakes and jam. I actually love that. I love tea service. I love the idea of sitting around in the middle of the afternoon and having a coffee or a tea and a pastry or a couple of little sandwiches, and just it's a nice idea. I think the Europeans have it right. That midday break in Spain, they all go home and sleep and shit like that. I think that's a good thing. I wish the Americans could adopt it, but we work ourselves to death, man. I go to work every day saying I'm going to take a break today, and then I don't. I work like 10 to 11 hours straight every day. There's just more things I got to get done than time I have to do it. Good for you, Happy Mario. And congrats on your Switch 2 pre-order. Thank you for bragging about it. Thank you all you fucking British listeners for bragging about it. Is it not enough that you colonized the goddamn globe? Is it not enough that you fucking pour tea in our harbor? God damn it. I'm going to change the history. You got to get all the Switch 2 pre-orders now. Save one for me, motherfucker. Thank you. Have a great week. Fever 120 Hertz writes in and says, "I miss the old days of getting Dorito dust on an Xbox 360 controller, but do you still eat Taco Bell? Get the Cantina Chicken Big Bowl, boy. Appreciate the pod." Oh yeah, I still eat Taco Bell. Not as often as I used to. I try to eat it as little as possible, but I always enjoy it when I do. Yeah, I'll eat Taco Bell probably. Lately, I've been averaging Taco Bell maybe once every 2-3 months, but I'll go through it will come back. There'll be a time where I eat Taco Bell twice a month or again or something like that. I don't know. I love Taco Bell. Of course I do. The chicken cantina bowl I haven't tried, but their rice bowls are good. I used to eat them when I was like calorie counting, but I don't know, man. If it's not wrapped in a tortilla, I don't know if I want it. But go ahead, get your Dorito dust on whatever controller you want. Xbox Series X controllers, they dust good too. You can dust those boys. Come on, Fever. Have a great week. Thank you for writing it. Sam Frito writes in with a little bit of a novella, so let's get into it. He says, "Truly saying South of Midnight is a Jesse game. It's probably one of the highest compliments you should give. I think South is a winner. The level of quality is leagues above Compulsion's first games. So they are going to new heights, and just enough love went into South of Midnight to keep the conversations for a long while. I can almost guarantee it will never need to be remastered. It captures its look perfectly, and I would say it's worth the $40 just to show someone visiting what the fuck Xbox is up to. Now on to what you've been eating. Stasios, that place is so damn good." Sam Frito, yeah, you live in Orlando? Yes, you live in Orlando. I know you do because you always make references that let me know you're more of a local than I am. You know this shit better than I do. He says Stasios, which is the Italian deli here in Orlando that I mentioned last week. He said, "Stasios, the place is so damn good. Haven't had a sub with sweet pepper, salami, and cheese that rocked like that in a long time. Their meatball sub is top notch too. Good pick. Kids don't bother with Epic Universe. Listen to Jesse. Go to Stasios." You listening, man? You taking notes? It's gonna put hair on your magic wand. So on to what I've been playing. Avowed. I love this guy. And some Redfall. I gotta say, Redfall is way better than I remember it. Maybe I let the critical voices rile me up over nothing. Well, remember they worked on it a lot since it came out, so they've upped it. Sometimes the people reviewing games just don't need to enjoy the game and don't see the entertainment a game can give. Or maybe I'm just stuck on finding fault in the media and dumping the Xbox tax on us again and again. Whatever it is, it's great seeing the gaming thrive and not have a problem finding something to enjoy. Oh, Minecraft movie is fun. Nothing is ever going to beat Sonic, but it's fun. Great show. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people really enjoyed the Minecraft movie. That's great to hear. No, I agree. Well, remember, Redfall did get a lot of updates, so you're playing a much better version of it than what the critics played a year or two ago. And I also enjoyed Redfall. I played it when it first came out. It's definitely not without its faults. It's rough around the edges. And it's far from perfect, but I really liked Redfall. I have a similar thing where I feel like I am so soft on games, and it's not because I'm an Xbox fanboy. If I reviewed PlayStation and Nintendo games all day, I do the same thing. It's that I work a job that exhausts me the fuck out every day. I spend half my life in a fucking truck commuting to and from work. I got an adult life. I got bills to pay. I got things to do. I try to be a good boyfriend and make time for my girlfriend and do things. I'm taking out the trash and I'm petting the cats and I'm feeding them and I'm fucking vacuuming the carpets and all the things I got to do. And at the end of the day, when I sit down to play a video game, I'm like, hey, this is me time. This is where I get to be selfish and indulge in something that is solely for me to enjoy. And so I think just by way of that, for people like us, for average Joes that have video gaming as a hobby and not as a career, because we're not pundits and commentators, we're just people that love video games and have passion for it. I think it's easier for us to overlook faults and to over-highlight or overexpose the pros and the things that we enjoy about these games, not because we lack nuance or because we're not pros at critiquing games or because we're fanboys who just have a blind allegiance to Xbox. I really think it just comes down to when your only real access to gaming is it's your escapism, it's your relief, your respite from the monotony and the stress and the wear of the day-to-day. You're just going to focus on the fun of it, you know? Like, I'm playing Splatoon 3 right now. It's glorified Splatoon 2 DLC, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it, and I don't regret spending $60 on it when I bought it because I'm having a good time, and that's all that fucking matters. It's a fun game, and I like it. And that's the same thing with South of Midnight. It doesn't reinvent the wheel at all, but I really enjoyed the 15 hours I spent with that game, and I was really connected to it the whole time, and I really walked away feeling like I had played something refreshing and exciting and new and beautiful to look at and fun to experience. And so it has faults, plenty of them, but I just really, really enjoyed the parts I really enjoyed, and that matters way more to me than the shortcomings of the game. And so I think that's what it comes down to. And that's, you know, not to speak for you, Sam Frito, but perhaps that's where you're at. I know you're a father, you're a hardworking man. Since you live in the Orlando area, you clearly deal with the dog shit traffic I deal with as well. I mean, I'm a little closer to Kissimmee than you, so maybe who knows if you got it that bad. But, you know, silliness aside, it's like, I'm sure that gaming plays a similar role for you in your life, where it's like, this is your me time. It's your time to just have a good time. So you come in with the mentality of like, let's fucking do this. Let's have fun. You know, you don't come in from the perspective of like, what do I need to say in my 12-minute YouTube video to be balanced and unbiased and present the pros and the cons of this product and to recommend it to an audience of viewers? It's like, you know, even me having this podcast, like I don't owe anyone anything. Like, I'm not getting paid. This isn't my job. I'm just telling you genuinely, I fucking think South of Midnight rocks, and that one dude's a freak for writing in that comment about Sweet Baby Inc. That's all I gotta say about it, man. It's a fun game. Go play it, you know? So anyway, I appreciate you writing in, Sam Frito. You're a sexy motherfucker. I know that about you. I know that. I've never seen you, but I can feel your energy, and it's a very sexy energy. Don't tell your wife. I think she'll be jealous. Cargo Runner UK. God damn it. What is this? What is this? All the British people with their Switch 2 pre-orders. What is it? What do you want? Great show. Love the Wii U midnight launch story. Oh, thank you. That's a very kind comment. Yeah, I love that story too. It's a weird one I always remember fondly. But thank you for writing in. Cargo Runner, you're a fine gentleman. May the Lord bestow greatness upon you. I know he already has. Cronky writes in with the final comment and says, I genuinely love the Minecraft movie. It's stupid and it's actually really fun. The obligatory kids movie singing parts are annoying though. Sam Frito and Parksy responded to that, and Sam says, yep, it got me laughing hard at antics. My Moa, Jason Momoa, does some nutty stuff to give it some bizarre vibes. And Parksy says, me and the older kids, 17 and 21, went and watched it last week. We all enjoyed it. Solid 7 out of 10, no shenanigans in our screening. You didn't get the chicken jockey, people throwing fucking firearms at grandmas in the theater kind of deal. No, it's cool. I'm glad. I feel like anecdotally, everyone who's seen this movie was like, yeah, it was a really fun time, which I appreciate. Maybe I'll go see it. I don't know. I don't have plans this weekend. My plans this weekend are really just to play the Switch. So maybe, I don't know. It depends. Can I coerce my girlfriend into seeing the Minecraft movie with me? You know what? That's a great way to end this podcast. Let's see if Jesse can coerce his girlfriend to see Minecraft the movie with him this weekend. I will report back to you guys next week. Perhaps I will have seen it by then. Listen, we got 4 of you who've written in this week and said the Minecraft movie was a lot of fun. Listen, I take all your word for it. I'm a little jealous of you fucking British listeners writing in, talking about your Switch 2 pre-orders. Also, just as a side note, U.S. listeners, Australian listeners, German listeners, Mexican listeners, I know you're out there. I see you in the demographics and the statistics of the podcast data. I know you're fucking out there. Why aren't you representing? Why is this show 50% represented from our British listeners. They are out here fucking wiping sweat off their brow, representing for my podcast when they don't have to. They're doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. These are good, kind, honest people. They do not deserve to be taxed or tariffed in any way, shape, or form. Good for them. Thank you guys for your support and enjoy your Switch 2s. To the rest of you, please be better. Leave 5-star reviews. And if I don't get a Switch 2 pre-order, please consider seriously reaching out to me to give me yours, because I need a Switch 2 pre-order so I can have an excuse to take Thursday and Friday, June 5th and 6th off of work, so I can stay home and have a long weekend playing Mario Kart World, so that for one moment in my goddamn life, I can close my eyes real tight and lie to myself and say, you didn't just turn 30. You're still a kid. Mom just got you a GameCube and you're over the goddamn moon. Whippy. And yeah, that's all I got to say for this week's podcast. So you guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. If you can't tell, I took a nap in the middle of the day. I went to my car and took a nap for the first time at work pretty much ever. And I feel better. I feel good. So clearly this worked. I should do this more often. But that's going to do it for our podcast. Have a great week. Enjoy the Minecraft movie. Enjoy South of Midnight. Enjoy your Switch 2 pre-orders. Good luck to you if you're trying to get yours. I think Canadians, you're up next, so Godspeed. But until next week, be good, be kind, be fair, empower your dreams.